I'm Lisa Evers, and this is Street Soldiers.
Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry with teens and young adults the heaviest consumers. Now e-cigs and vaping are being blamed for serious lung problems. Is the danger overhyped, or are the health risks real? The hookah smoking craze is evident in bars, restaurants, and nightclubs. But it's risky since you never know what you're getting, says Dr. Fred Pescatore.
Hookah smoking is dangerous because there are so many toxic chemicals in the hookah that the water vapor alone cannot get rid of them. So you're dealing with things like hydrocarbons and propylene glycol and benzenes.
The CDC says e-cigs and vaping rose 78% last year among high school students and 48% among middle schoolers. Michigan is the first state to ban all flavored e-cigs with candy-like colors and names that appeal to kids.
You know it's to catch the eye of younger children because sometimes it's literally one window next to the gum and candy.
Companies are pouring millions and millions of dollars into Instagram, into Facebook, into YouTube. So they know who they're trying to reach, whether they say it out loud or not.
E-cig industry leader Juul is so dominant it's become a verb, juuling. The $15 billion a year company is launching an ID requirement to purchase its products.
I don't think our campaign was ever targeted to kids. We don't need to target youth to grow our business to be successful.
Many of the vaping products contain nicotine and oils with unknown chemical ingredients. Doctors around the country are now looking at a rash of serious vaping-related respiratory illnesses among teens and young adults.
Someone's 18, 17, 16, 14, smoking, vaping, e-cigaretting toxic chemicals into their brain. We don't know the long-term side effects of that. We don't even know the short-term side effects.
One thing's for sure, the concerns are real. Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining me is Shawn Prez. He's the CEO of Powermoves, Inc. He's a marketing expert and the founder of the Global Spin Awards. Shawn, great to have you with us.
Hey, Lisa, great to be here.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Dr. Fred Pescatore. He's a natural physician, best-selling author, and international health educator. Dr. Fred, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Lisa. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. Also joining us is Plemmie Lawson. He's an AFT certified master level trainer, a personal fitness and nutrition expert. Plemmie, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much. Dr. Fred, how serious is this vaping crisis, or is this just another one of these overblown health warnings?
Well, right now it is a serious health crisis because we don't know what's happening. And so far, recently, so many things have occurred, including that one death that we were talking about. So right now it's a crisis. Whether it's going to turn out to be as bad a crisis as smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol or doing any other thing, any other vices that we have, only time is going to tell about that. But right now, we're having some serious issues. I mean, granted, you have to think about it, though. There's only a couple hundred cases of this happening right now. But where is that going to go? Is it going to escalate really rapidly, or is it just going to kind of fade away? And this is just something that is just, I don't know, something's off, and we don't know about why. And so I understand why they're doing what they're doing, but not sure where it's going to fall after this.
And where it's going to go, because it's still very early on. But we wanted to talk about it. Plemmie, you work with a lot of different people. You also work with high-profile celebrities that are in a very fast-lane lifestyle.
Sure.
Any restaurant you go to, any club, there's hookahs. People who would never take a regular cigarette, they just vape for hours and hours and hours. Hours. They're on the hookah the whole night long while they're drinking. What do you see happening? Do you see this affecting their ability to, to take care of their health?
Well, I tell everyone first and foremost, whether it's a high-profile celebrity or whether it's just a regular person who's looking to improve their health, you can't do both lifestyles. You have to pick one or the other. Smoking obviously has adverse effects on your cardiovascular health. There's no way you're going to be able to keep up with sprinting, cycling, and a lot of the other exercises that I ask for a lot of my clients to do if you're trying to do both. Also, just staying up late.
Right.
You're not going to get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym.
If you're doing that. But are you seeing people come in and they're like going, I don't know why I'm short of breath? And
Sure.
then they're like, yeah, I'm
Coughing,
vaping.
wheezing, absolutely. So the
They don't
vaping,
think of it-
especially hookah.
Right.
Especially hookah. So I'm cautious against that. I'm always telling people you have to stop with the hookah smoking.
Because of that. Shawn Prez, the part of the issue around this whole vaping and e-cig crisis is around teens. And many people say, the critics say, that it's been marketed directly towards teens. They even call it, juuling has become like a generic term, like, you know, making a Xerox copy or something. And the founder says, no way do we target teens. But as you look at that whole industry, which is now a multi-billion-dollar industry, what do you see happening?
Okay, first and foremost, the founder of Jules is supposed to say that.
Right.
You know, of course, he is not targeting teens, but in terms of the marketing overall, it's a play right out of the Philip Morris playbook, right? You look, there are these vibrant colors. They have these 20-somethings who look much younger than their actual age. The cool crowd, very pretty model-type chicks, handsome model-type guys. These are the guys who are advertising vaping and, you know, these e-cigarettes. It started out as an alternative to quit smoking, to help you quit smoking. But in terms of the marketing says different. It says, hey, you know, we understand there's a stigma attached to smoking cigarettes, but this is your cooler alternative.
Sure.
So
kick
it's
this
basically
vice
making
up.
it an acceptable lifestyle.
Oh, 100%.
Dr. Fred, talk about the teens, because this seems to be like the biggest concern. Does it affect, you know, people are inhaling these substances. Sometimes you don't know what it is. Sometimes it's not the thing. They'll buy one and then they'll kind of, you know, fix up the device their own kind of way, put their own stuff in it or whatever for the vaping liquid. Why do they seem to be so physically vulnerable to this?
Well, I think teens are physically vulnerable because their lungs aren't formed completely yet. So they're not only attacking their lungs with this oils, with all of the chemicals that are in. There's so many chemicals in these vape pens. There's so many more chemicals in hookah. So, and when you're marketing towards young children, you're getting, or teenagers, it's acceptable for them to do it, right? Their parents aren't going to say you shouldn't be smoking. Now maybe they'll be saying you shouldn't be vaping. But it's the fact that they are more vulnerable, A, because their brains aren't developed yet. So kids up to 25 are more reckless. They're willing to do more reckless things. You don't know what they're putting in these substances. They can take that little thing out. They could add some THC. They could add whatever street drug they happen to have with them. You can crush up an OxyContin and put it in there. Who knows what's going on in there. But it's bad, especially for young people, because they're the ones who are going to get hooked, and they're going to get hooked forever.
Plemmie, what about you do repetitions with workouts, but you know, when people would smoke regular cigarettes, you kind of count. You know, you got 20 in the pack, and then if you're getting close to the end of the pack, you're like, wait, I did too much today. But with the vaping, they're on it almost like babies are on pacifiers.
Absolutely.
And hookah, people are on those things all night long while they're sitting at a club or sitting at a restaurant.
Absolutely. Not only are you inhaling a lot of the toxins, but I also read, just doing some research, that, you know, just one little pod is comparable to smoking a whole pack of cigarettes as far as the nicotine intake. So not only are you becoming addicted to nicotine, which is a bad thing. I think addiction to anything is a bad thing. But then at the same time, you're taking in all these toxins, there's secondhand smoke, and there's just not enough evidence or enough data right now to say that this is totally safe. So while people think that, you know, vaping is safer than smoking, I still think the jury is still out about it.
And Prez, when you talk about the big tobacco playbook that they used, it's the same thing of like making it look cool. So regardless of what the health information is from the health experts, this is what I have to do to look cool.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I want to pick up on something that you just said.
Go ahead.
In terms, let's be clear. There is nicotine, there's tobacco in, you know, these devices. It's not like this is a healthy alternative.
Right.
Because it smells fruity or something.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's cool.
So they're you know, luring kids in with flavors and, you know, different vibrant colors in ways to hook them, and they're getting them really early. And, you know, they're promoting on things like social media, and it's hooking them in for life.
All right, we're going to talk about that. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers.
There's so many more chemicals in hookah than anything else that we're smoking right now.
Let's talk about the hookah thing. Prez, you're out and about in the lifestyle, in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, all of these places. even regular restaurants now, they give you they bring the hookah before you can even get a glass of water.
Absolutely. Hookah is big business. I mean, you know, we were speaking offline about the hookah menus. You can literally go into a restaurant and there are different flavors of hookah to smoke, and it's the in thing to do. But it goes back to the marketing. It goes back to the way that they have made this new trend so cool, and it's so sexy to do. And here's the thing, it's not limited to girls, it's guys, old, young, everybody's doing it. It is 100% cool to see somebody smoking on an e-cigarette or pulling on hookah and blowing vape into the air.
Dr. Fred, what about this? Because you can't smoke a regular cigarette or a cigar in a restaurant.
No, not
But
anymore, which is a good thing.
Right.
But with hookah especially, and this is the thing that I really want people to understand, it's only water vapor that is taking away, that is filtering the substance that you put in there. So there's more carbon monoxide that you get from hookah than you get from cigarettes. So your body has 8 times more carbon monoxide in it from hookah than from smoking a cigarette. You've got polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which is these PAHs that everybody's talking about. When you grill a steak, that's what's carcinogenic, is those black lines that you see. That's what you're inhaling when you're doing a hookah. And then there's benzene, and then there's the nicotine, you know, that we've been talking about. But people put THC in there, they put all sorts of things in there. But there's so many more chemicals in hookah than anything else that we're smoking right now.
And yet people stay on it they're on it all night long.
Hours.
Well, that's the other part. And you could also, because you're sharing, you could also pass along whatever's in your mouth. You can share. You can pass along herpes viruses. You can pass along bacterial infections, all sorts of things.
Really, that always. I mean,
Well, you're supposed to change the mouthpiece. So.
yeah, like they come out with the new tips, but what about those tubes and the whole?
Exactly, the tubes are filthy. I mean, they're not cleaning out the tubes after every use. They change the little plastic device. That's it.
At the tip, and that's it. So if somebody else has the flu or they have something serious,
or
like you said,
MRSA, or there's some serious diseases that you can.
That sounds so nasty.
Horrible.
But it's Plemmie, you had experience with a client that was out all the time on the hookah.
Absolutely. Part of his job was to be in nightlife, so I kind of understood why he needed to be there. But I said, look, just because it's there and you can partake in a lot of that stuff, you have to learn to abstain. In the same way with alcohol, you can ask for water, you can ask for alternatives, and hookah is just something to stay away from. And I remember back in, I think in 2014, when I first started to work with him, there was this famous song out called "Pass Me the Hookah." I don't know if you heard it before. It was by, I think, Tyga. And
we got the music expert right here, DJ.
And Young Thug, I think. Yeah, so this was a real popular song. So I think the DJ probably would play it back, 10 times in the club, and everybody's ordering hookah. So the lifestyle was really pushed on people. So it was hard to try to say, hey, stop that lifestyle when peer pressure is on you and you feel like you need to be cool to do it. And then I'm saying, hey, you need to have a healthier lifestyle, which people typically start thinking, oh, when I get older, I think about it. When I'm younger right now, I just want to have fun.
It doesn't really matter, and they're not going to see anything.
That's right.
But Prez, you're in a restaurant. A lot of people won't drink a glass of water, just the water that they bring, that the server brings or that the bartender gives you or whatever. They want like a bottled water. They want to see the label on the bottle to make sure it's like a real company, bottled water. And yet with hookah, it doesn't seem like there's any brands, there's any specific. It's just whatever. Like it could be potpourri from the. I mean, whatever. It's like
they're doing the job right. It's as simple as that. They have marketed this thing in a way. They've sold it. They're telling us half the story, right? It's a healthier alternative. It helps you to quit cigarettes. But they didn't say it's healthy. It's not healthy.
Let's focus on the kids right now because it's the back to school season and there is a lot of concern about the kids, being exposed to this. Somebody comes to them, pulls it out of their book bag on their way home from school and the e-cigs are there. Dr. Fred, is it just kids that are suffering these ill effects from these e-cigs and the vaping? or teens, or
Well, right now, that's the ones who we're seeing who are the most affected by this.
like teens and early 20s?
Teens, early 20s. So the younger the person is, the more likely they'll be affected. Whether that's because they vape more, whether that's because they're really using it as a something fun, as opposed to using it for the purpose for which it was invented, which was to taper you off of cigarettes. Who knows? But right now, it's happening to a very vulnerable part of the population. Granted, it's still a small amount of the population, but who knows where that's going to go from here. So I think it's really important that now that it's back to school season, that people really pay attention to what's going in their kids' school bags. Like, are they getting these vape pens from somewhere? And where are they getting them from? And why do we think vaping is okay for our kids to have?
Well, I think, and then the other issue too is like some of the research too, some of the articles I read, they talk about that these people who are showing up in these emergency rooms, otherwise healthy, with these respiratory illnesses that they can't really diagnose. When we say respiratory illness, for those of us who are not MDs, what does that mean?
That means you're going to be coughing, you're going to be wheezing, you're going to have difficulty breathing, you could be nauseous, you could be dizzy, you could get lightheaded from not having enough oxygen. And when you take x-rays on these people that come into the emergency room, it looks like they have this giant bacterial and viral pneumonia.
Oh my gosh.
That's how bad the lungs look. And that's pretty intense. And they can't, their oxygen saturation goes down, so they're not able to breathe. Who knows the long-term effects that you can have by not having enough oxygen in your brain when you're 17 and 18 years old.
Right.
I mean, you see that in people who train and they drop their oxygen saturation. Absolutely. And in some respects, that's good because you can get a better workout. But I mean, it's not. I mean, long-term side effects of this stuff, it's pretty bad.
Oh, wow. President, in terms of the effect on the kids, like it's not illegal. It's illegal to sell it to kids, and it's illegal to market it directly to kids. But what are some of the techniques that brands use in order to get around those prohibitions?
Okay, let's talk about Juul, who owns about a third. I mean, 3/4 of the market.
About $15 billion a year.
Like, they came out 2015, 2016, immediately pumped $1 million in advertising into social media. Who's on social media all day long?
The kids.
Right. Junior high schoolers, high schoolers. They're directly targeting exactly where these kids are at. You can say what you want, but the fact of the matter is, it's like saying, hey, stay away from schools and then go to a school and sell your product. They're right there where the kids are at. So.
And then right there in their face. Plemmie, how do you talk to your daughter, your 12-year-old daughter, about the peer pressure or the fact that she's like, but Daddy, it looks so cool. Everybody's doing it. Nothing bad is going to happen. How do you talk to her about that as a parent?
Well, I would say Deja. Hi, Deja. I would say the same thing that I say to her about everything. And that's that, there are going to be people in the world that are going to try to persuade you or influence you to do things that may be harmful to you. And they may try to do it because of image. They may just want you to be part of the cool crowd. But you need to have your own mind. You need to be strong-willed. And you have to know that the lifestyle that you want does not match the lifestyle of being hospitalized, point blank.
No, definitely. Dr. Fred, in terms of what can happen, how concerned are you? Because you're not always in step with the traditional medical profession by a long shot, and you really speak your mind, and a lot of people depend on you for that. In terms of the vaping in kids, is there any level, what is the worst case scenario of what could happen to kids?
Well, the worst case scenario is death. I mean, we've seen the worst case scenario, and luckily it's only been one so far. But I mean, I think what really is the problem is that no one's regulated this stuff. It came out on the market, and it was like, okay, cigarettes are regulated, alcohol's regulated, marijuana's regulated,
even
everything's
water,
regulated.
Even bottles of water, that you have to tell where it came from.
Exactly.
Right.
And this comes on the market, and it's not regulated at all.
All right, well, I want to thank all of you for being with us for this episode of Street Soldiers. A lot of great information to help people make the right and healthy choices on this. Shawn Prez, great to have you with us again. Thank you
for
so
having me,
much.
Lee.
Dr. Fred, appreciate all your help,
Thank
and
you
thanks
so
so much
much
for being with us. And Plemmie Lawson, great to have you back with us.
Thank
you
you
so
again.
much. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. Let's push for peace.